Hi everybody, welcome back to another crafting class with me, Aviva, your art director from the Asner Family Center. Today we are going to be using a lot of natural products to make something so incredible, which is natural and eco-friendly paint. We're going to be making paint today, a little bit different. I gotta start over. I'm sorry. I got freaked out because I have to look down. Most parts, okay. Hi everybody, welcome back to another crafting class with me, Aviva, your art director from the Asner Family Center. Today we are going to be making natural paint for all of us artists at home. We're going to be talking a lot about how a lot of our art materials are pretty harmful for our planet and our environment, and so we are going to be finding some great natural alternatives that are great and eco-friendly and easy to use. All right, so we are going to be actually making paint out of eyeshadow today. And eyeshadow is obviously not a natural product, but we are trying to find value in usual everyday objects. Even if you don't wear makeup, there's very cheap eyeshadows that you can use. And so we're reducing, reusing, and we're using those old palettes that you're not really wanting to wear anymore and making it into paint. And so a lot of people don't realize a lot of makeup products actually have an expiration date and they're actually pretty harmful to put on your face. So we're taking that cosmetic waste and turning it into something creative. So today we are going to be making eyeshadow out of eyeshadow into watercolor paint. So it's going to be a type of watercolor paint, a little bit more charcoaly and beautiful. So you'll see it's kind of got its own kind of realm of texture when it comes to this type of watercolor. So let's talk about some of our materials we're going to be using today. I have a palette, something to be mixing our paint on. You could be using a plastic one. Glass and marble palettes are great to use. Just a great smooth surface to mix your pigments and your oils on. So obviously we're going to be using eyeshadow as well. You can see I've got a few different colors today, and I like using the shimmery ones so you get like a cool glittery kind of texture as well. I got a lot of cool colors as well, so you want to use a lot of vibrant ones because it'll still work with the more like nude tones, but we want to keep it vibrant today. So when it comes to our binder, the thing that kind of holds our paint together and makes it less powdery, we are going to be using walnut oil. And walnut oil is actually a great oil that actually dries instead of making that kind of like oily texture onto the paper. You know, when you have a McDonald's bag and the brown bag kind of turns a different darker shade of brown, we don't want that today. So we have a nice walnut oil. You could also use different types of mediums like glue. You could also use gum arabic and also spit. You can use spit. As gross as that is, it's thick and it works. And finally, for our last few materials, I have a little container to put some of our paints in once we're finished. A palette spatula to mix, some water, and some watercolor paper, just because the paint that we're going to be using is very thick and we want to make sure that our paper doesn't get all flimsy. And finally, some paper towels, like always, just in case. So let's find a nice, quiet, relaxing spot, roll up your sleeves, nice, hard, smooth table. So we're gonna get started here with all of our colors that we have available. I've got a lot of pink. I think I'm gonna be using some of our brighter colors today for our pigments. You can use pressed powder like these, come in like these little palettes, and that's where our little palette spatula comes in to scoop them out. Or you can use powder pigments like powdered eyeshadows, anything like that. All right, so we're going to be taking the palette of your choice, and let's start off with this beautiful pink color. I think what we're going to do is let's scoop out all the colors that we're going to be using today, and then we'll do our mixing. So I like to just kind of cut down the middle and just scoop out our little eyeshadow here. And I'm not gonna, actually, yeah, I'm gonna use all of it. Can't really use this eyeshadow afterwards. So now that we've got our 4 colors that we're going to be using today, we've got pink, like a nice rusty orange, a blue, and this beautiful green. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to first crush up all of our little pigments that we have here, and then we'll add in our oil. Okay, that's good enough. All right. It's so satisfying to crush up all these beautiful colors here. If you don't have a palette knife, by the way, at home, you could totally just use a regular butter knife. It totally does the same job. So now what we're going to be doing, because now you can see it's not completely crushed up, but it's good enough for now. So now we're going to be taking our walnut oil, and I have 2 here. They're the same kind of oil here, just in case we don't have enough with one of these little cups. So carefully, I'm just going to be pouring. So let's do about 1 to 2 ratio, 2 being the pigment, okay? So about half as much oil to color. Okay, a little bit there, a little bit there. And you can add more color, add more oil, whatever you need. It's kind of just an eyeballing kind of situation here. So now that we've got our oil down, we're going to start just chopping and mixing, and we're doing something right here that usually you'd get a muller, and it's basically a big glass kind of like a grinding piece that kind of helps blend in the pigment into the oil, but we're just going to be using the edge of our spatula today to just really mix that in there. So I'm going to mix up all of our colors, and then we'll get started on our painting. Alrighty, so I'm just finishing up this pink here. And you can see I kind of added more as I went. It's always best to add just a little bit in the beginning and then add on as you're mixing, because you don't want to add too much. You don't want your paint being too oily. Alright, so now that we've got our colors all set and ready, we are going to clean our space and get ready for painting. Now I've cleaned up my space, cleaned up my paints, and now we can get started on our painting. And you know, because we used oil, this will kind of slightly damage your paintbrushes if they're not specifically oil kind of paintbrushes, but just soaking it in hot water really helps for cleanup afterwards. So we are going to test out some of our paints. You want to get your paintbrush a little bit wet, and you're just going to start mixing into it. So let's start with this. Let's start with this green. You can see how beautiful that color is. My gosh. And you can see as we paint, it's very thick. It's not as watery as watercolors, you know. what I like to do is I use some water and I make the lines that I want to make. And then I take my finger and it's almost like a charcoaly kind of substance as well. Because of that powder that we use, that eyeshadow. It's so pretty. So I'm going to paint a little picture with our paints that we just made, and we'll come back together at the end. All right, so just a quick fun little painting here, and I just love the texture of this stuff. I love touching it with my fingers because it is still powdery in a way, but it still comes on really nice and smooth like paint. You can see you can add water to it and blend it and just have fun with it. All right, so that's going to be about it today for our little quick DIY natural paint experience. Actually, I have a few sources that I want to show you for some really cool natural art choices that you can see online. So basically, we have a few here that we have, these are all different types of companies that support eco-friendly art materials. So the first one is This Earth's Art Shop, and it's a shop in New York that has a bunch of beautiful pigments and colors and natural paintbrushes that are in New York. I don't know about the specific place, but I'll be there soon and I'll check it out and I'll give you guys more info when I go. And the second one is Natural Earth Paint. It's an eco-friendly paint company created by Leah Fanning, environmentalist, artist, and mom, which I think is really great. We want to support our local businesses, and she makes beautiful pieces of art and also lots of different paint kits that you can buy online. And then finally, an incredible book called The Organic Artist by Nick Netto, and it's a book that teaches you how to make natural and non-toxic paint and dyes from plants and rocks. So if you want to take a little screenshot or save these for later on, definitely something that you should check out if you're interested in becoming more sustainable in your art choices and your materials that you use. So that's going to be about it today. I hope you had fun making some natural dye with me, and maybe in the springtime we'll find some plants and we'll do some more natural dyeing, because remember in the past we made those turmeric dye socks, a video that you should check out. All right, so if you decided to make this paint online, go check it out. Oh wait, that didn't make sense. If you decided to make natural paint out of eyeshadow, you can email me at aviva@asnerfamilycenter.org and show me your work, because I'd love to see it. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.